Hi everyone, in this video we're going to be covering the hot topic of employer branding and why it's on the trends list and ones to watch for 2024. I think to understand what employer branding means today, you've also got to look back at what it's historically been for many businesses and brands. So I think typically for businesses I've worked with or worked for or been part of a team, it's involved setting a vision, a mission, a set of loose values, slapping them on the wall somewhere, and almost like a comply or die attitude that you were either aligned with this business or you weren't. And that's pretty much where for a lot of businesses employer branding was born and died ultimately. What it involves today, however, is much more focused on the broader cultural aspects of being part of a team and working within a business. So typically for employer branding, employee value propositions is kind of the central fulcrum and the anchor point for a lot of the work that happens there, where you're looking to really form a unique promise to your team members and individuals that you work with of what your business offers these individuals in terms of a job, a career, purpose and future development opportunities. As a leader of a business myself, one of the key learnings for myself is that tone at the top isn't enough. It's not good enough just to set a strategy amongst the board that's never spoken of again. I think that needs to be cascaded throughout the business, consistently represented amongst your team, carefully policed to make sure there is genuine alignment amongst your wider team structure, your management structure, peers and colleagues. And then finally, I would say in relation to what employer branding means today, you've got to consider the multifaceted aspects to it. So as well as your corporate architecture, so as well as your vision, your mission and your values, you've also got things now on the agenda like CSR, EDI, ESG, I realise there's a lot of acronyms here, neurodiversity, and the demands of also managing a multi-generational workforce to deal with. So there isn't a one-size-fits-all approach, there's lots of different agendas at play, and all this needs to form part of your employer value proposition and what you offer your teams that you develop and work with. I think we saw the employer branding really rise and the importance of it in the post-pandemic landscape. So the resulting world that we found ourselves in was a fiercely competitive recruitment market, where companies had to work a damn sight harder than they had previously to not only retain but attract the very highest calibre of talent to their business. Part of that with employer branding involves, obviously like it does in the rest of marketing, cutting through the noise and differentiating in the kind of sea of sameness that exists. So offering a competitive salary is part of the package that you're offering to your potential candidates and prospective employees, but it's certainly not the be-all and end-all anymore. So I think you're finding with the younger generations, they're much more purpose-driven. So purposefully driven prospective employees will do their research on your business. They want to know whether you authentically represent the personas you put out online about your business. They want to know where you're heading as a business. They want to know your wider purpose beyond profit. And I think you're really seeing that becoming much more of a two-way dialogue now in the interview process, that whereas it used to be a Q&A and you prove why you're worthy of a job with our organisation, for many businesses now, it's very much a dialogue of, well, what have you got to offer me as an employer as well, and why should I invest my time with you to build my future career? I think in the modern digital age, authenticity is absolutely critical to any aspect of marketing or communications. In these days, a thin veil of false promises is so easy to be unpicked. So making a claim about your employee value proposition of what you may offer a prospective or current employee is no longer good enough. You've got to be walking the walk as well as talking the talk and stating the obvious. So as well as setting the path, execution really does matter here with your employee value proposition, and how you represent that on a day-to-day basis in your business, how you implement programs to bring that to life for your current and prospective team members, alongside a glossy front end and brochure site about the promises you'll make to somebody, are so important. Having a digital online presence, very easily unpicked, I think back in the day, if you were referencing a potential employee, you'd rely on things like word of mouth. These days, you've got much more online representation, even flowing through to like independent review sites and the likes of Glassdoor, where people can go on and write any review they want of your business. And modern day candidates and the younger generations are genuinely using these sites to appraise whether or not they want to join your business and invest their future career development with you. Realistically, the implications of getting your employer branding or the execution of your employer branding and subsequent cascade wrong is you're going to fail to attract the highest caliber of talent to your business, but most importantly, I would argue, fail to retain the stars that you've already got in your mix. So for things like ourselves in a service-based business, client service and the tenure of your team is critical, and that's clearly going to suffer as a consequence if people don't ultimately believe in the value that you bring to their future career development. Okay, so you've done a large internal exercise. You've worked with your internal marketing team or potentially an external agency. You've got your brand architecture sorted and you've got your employee value proposition set. You know the promise you're making to your current and prospective employees. Now, the reality is, how on earth do you communicate that to your team? And I think this has been a learning point for businesses we work with, as well as our own business here at B2B. The importance that internal communications plays in campaigning out the messaging that you need to teams on a consistent basis. So I would say it takes a lot of manpower, it takes a lot of strategic execution and a lot of dedication to do this. But you should really approach it like any other communications plan or campaign strategy as you would for an external campaign being run to suppliers or customers or any other stakeholders in your mix. The reality is the EVP is something that you've got to revisit more than once a year. This isn't just a signpost that you're going to put out there and hope for the best and hope it resonates with your respective team. It should be an all year-round strategy that you come back to time and time again, and I would encourage you to proactively revisit it annually as well to make sure the promises you're making to your team still resonate with them on an ongoing basis.